Welcome to the very first Only Maids podcast, Hot Topics panel, you guys. I'm your host, Nicki, and today I'm joined by three incredible women in the cleaning industry. Please help me welcome Autumn Jackson, Stephanie Nelson, and Tara Padilla. Yes. So each of us brings a different background, different experiences, and different opinions. And that's what makes this panel so awesome, you guys. So let's jump into today's hot topic. A former housekeeper sued Chris Brown after she alleged she was attacked by one of his dogs while working at his California home. She claimed the attack left her with life-changing injuries. After years in court, the jury found Chris Brown legally liable and awarded the housekeeper approximately $12.9 million in damages, y'all. $12.9 million. So now this case has a lot of people talking all over social media and stuff. I've seen it a lot, but I haven't heard any discussion about it in the cleaning community, y'all, which is strange. So we're going to talk about it today from a cleaner's perspective, our perspective. Autumn, what you thinking when you hear this story?
I'm thinking like that's not enough money. I mean, like you gonna have to break me out for about 50 mil.
Okay.
I mean, that's a lot. I'm traumatic. It's a traumatic experience for life.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you think the 12.9 million verdict was fair? Autumn says no.
I do now. I mean, I think she deserved more after I learned all about the case and the entire situation. But at first I didn't know all the facts. So definitely considering, how this poor woman is scarred from this situation.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
same. I didn't know all the facts at first either. And so once we started talking about this topic, when you're a business owner and when you're a superstar like Chris Brown, there's a lot of people that try to take advantage of you. So at first I was like,
Absolutely.
come on,
Yeah.
did this really happen? But when I found out it was as extreme as it was, then absolutely, I think, 12.9 million was definitely not enough and he was definitely liable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. The case of the facts are important. If I'm not mistaken, it was a 200-pound dog, I believe, that attacked her. And initially, she was seeking 90 million in damages. But after a few years in court, they just settled for the 12.9 million. Now she says the dog, she was outside, she was taking out the trash when the dog attacked her. And there was no security. And she claims that she wasn't told to not go outside with the dog alone. I mean, that brings up a lot of security concerns. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I mean, if you have an attack dog or something like that, you want to make sure that you are having everything secure before the clinic comes there. And I'm just trying to, a 200-pound dog. I mean, that is just insane. I'm trying to figure out, like what it looked like, all of the different things. But yeah, if you have a vicious dog or something that's capable of that, first of all, they should be glad that she didn't die.
Yes.
Literally.
Get killed.
It could have been worse. It could have been way worse.
If somebody 200-pound person is on you, it's hard to
Yeah.
get them off of you.
Yeah.
I mean, much let a rabid dog that's getting ready to try to tear your face off.
Right.
I think they said that dog was actually trained to kill because he had people stalking him, and which it's Chris Brown. I'm sure he has people stalking him, and I think people tried to rob him, and so that dog was trained to protect and kill.
Right.
And when you have something of that magnitude in your backyard, even as it's two different perspectives, right? Homeowner and a business owner, because technically she's working for him, so that's his business. So he should have definitely had a safety plan in place for that situation.
And a trained person at all times that's going to be with that dog. You can't leave a 200-pound attack dog home all willy-nilly and expect that everything is going to be. But I don't know.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. Absolutely. Yeah, they should have definitely had somebody on site to handle that dog, for the safety of everybody on site, including the house cleaner. Stephanie, you have a pet business. What is your perspective on this?
Yes. So when I found out this animal was 200 pounds, as much as I take care of all different types of animals. I don't think I've ever taken care of a 200-pound dog. I imagine this dog being something that, he does sit-ups and has abs or something.
Yes,
No.
ripped,
It's an
ripped,
animal, and I
jacked.
know how fast they can move, and it's like seconds, So, actually, when I dug into all of the details, I'd be terrified. I
Yeah.
mean, you never know what's on the other side of that door, So,
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to um, risk assessment
Yeah.
and both parties agreeing. I don't believe that she knew that animal was out there. Who in their right mind would forget there's a 200-pound dog that may kill you outside,
Right.
Yeah,
So,
no
Exactly.
way.
Where does the responsibility lie? Or, how does that usually work? And what kind of policies are we putting in place to protect and, ourselves and the safety of our teammates?
I think it depends. It's definitely a shared responsibility if there's no policy or plan in place by the cleaning owner, but definitely the majority lies on the homeowner because you are in their dwelling and they should have things safe and things like that for you to be able to take, especially when it deals with pets.
Right.
Really with anything when it comes down to whether you're gonna get on a ladder or whatever you may be doing. But yeah, 1,000%, the homeowner has the greater burden, but that's the reason why, like my company, we have a strict policy on your pets have to be put up. I don't care how cute and cuddly they are. They
Mm-hmm.
can even be, smaller dogs. For one, they get in the way. For two, you
Yeah.
just never can be for certain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And one of my employees actually got bit by a smaller dog, and it was enough to break the skin, right?
oh,
But,
wow.
even if it's 200 pounds or, 20 pounds, you never really know because those little small dogs can be vicious. They're trying to prove something.
Yeah.
But another thing, I don't know what y'all's policy is whenever y'all get to a home, but even when it's an estimate, right? Because a lot of our estimates sometimes are exterior only,
Yeah.
and someone may not be home. So the
Mhm.
first thing we ask is are there any aggressive dogs outside that we need to be aware of? And
Mhm.
if so, then we're not going to go whenever no one's home. We need you guys to bring them inside. So I'm curious what y'all's policy is with dogs.
I feel like, intuition. I agree with you, Autumn, too. I say that, I think the burden does belong on the homeowner partially because it's their look. Here's my cat coming to say,
Come on,
as,
Cameo.
so, as he's coming to say hi. Hello, buddy. Hi,
Hello.
hi.
Hi, Kitty.
So
Cutie.
there's the burden. So anyways, I think also intuition plays a part in that as well because if you're going like to do an estimate and maybe this is an empty home or this is a home you haven't been to before, you have the right to not enter that home, or office building if you're not comfortable. So I think for me, when I did homes and also with the offices and things, I did create a policy, not because I had that happen, but because I was aware of what could happen because I've always had pets, as you all can tell. So, but I think I do agree with you, Autumn, when I say, the burden in this case definitely belonged on him because like I said, I just don't see somebody knowing there's a 200-pound attack dog that can literally in seconds come at you, say, I'm just going to take the trash out,
Yeah.
Right.
Still
Yeah, no,
scary.
I agree with you guys. In regard to the Chris Brown situation, it seems like it was definitely negligence on his end.
Yeah. After we heard all the facts about it, I mean, there was no question about it. And it's unfortunate that he played the tactic of dragging the case out this long
Right.
in hopes that they would settle because, at the end of the day, they need the money for the healing. And,
Mhm.
I think they said that he also paid her husband because now her husband is having to help take care of her. And then he also paid her sister because her sister saw it happen. And
Right.
so, now, and it wasn't even, I think it was like 50,000 and 100,000, like not nearly enough money because that's traumatic for them too.
Yes,
Mhm.
it is.
And it's unfortunate that it took so long to settle that case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised he got off with just 12.9 because when you have to have, I think we may have like looked up the facts of reconstructive surgery and things like
Yes.
that had to take place. And
Yes.
so it's just kind of like the pain and suffering alone should be
Right.
12.9 million. And you drag
Yeah.
it out for 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Would y'all's opinion change if it wasn't Chris Brown? What do you think? How do you think celebrity plays into this at all?
It's a good question.
It is a good question. It is. I mean, knowing what I know about Chris Brown, I kind of leaned one direction, but at the same time I didn't, because all I knew initially was this had happened and I didn't know all the facts. When I dug into the facts, I looked at it from, I guess, a gray perspective between the black and white, and just started analyzing facts, if that makes sense. So, I think even if it was just my neighbor down the road, I still would have come to the same conclusion because this dog was trained to attack.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
it's just a bigger pot to sue, unfortunately.
Right.
But I mean, if it were me, I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
You won't have paint on the walls
Yeah.
by the time I'm done with you.
Yeah.
Now let's flip the role, right? Now, what if it happens to you? What if you're Chris Brown and it happens to you? You know, maybe it's not a 200-pound dog. Maybe it's just your little, fluffy, your little kitty or something that scratches them and causes an infection or something. And then they try to sue you. Yes, we have these policies in place. Accidents do happen. Yes, we have insurance to cover it. But where do you stand if it happens to you? And I guess Nikki, start with you.
If the dog bites me?
Yeah. Well, no. If you're Chris Brown, if you're the homeowner.
Oh, gotcha. You never can say never, but I wouldn't have allowed that situation to happen. A 200-pound dog, a house cleaner, she wasn't a spring chicken, you know what I mean? So and there was no concrete instructions or rules and boundaries on how to work with this animal, this massive animal. I need to cross all my T's and dot all my I's. Like, I would have never let that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
feel like it would have, if it was me and I was Chris Brown, I am immediately throwing money at the situation. I am immediately paying for her care. I mean, I will be super remorseful. It probably wouldn't even hit the airwaves like that, because even in my cleaning company now, we have stellar reviews for almost 10 years. And it's not because we're perfect. It's because I am extremely good at customer service, putting out fires, making sure things don't get to that point.
Absolutely.
And so I would have definitely been all over that.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like if he actually did have something in place, like he said he would have had her sign it. He would have had a copy of it. I feel like there would have been a little bit more of a paper trail rather than just he said, she said.
Right.
And didn't you say he didn't really stick around too? Do I remember that being one of the facts? He didn't stick around. If you generally care, I think you stick around regardless.
Right. So it just all around seems negligent and just it's just not a good look. You know what I mean?
It's given the dog hadn't been there that long. Because I mean, or what happened? Was there like a situation where because it's so void of details.
Right.
So like, is this the first time that she was around the dog? Did you feel comfortable enough, like she had been around the dog before, for you to leave? Like, what's going on in that situation? Like, then you didn't have anything in place. So I go back and forth of like, has the dog been around? And maybe this dog is a new attack dog. I don't even know which one based on what we know.
Right.
But I know whenever I have someone in my house doing anything, house cleaners working on something, my dogs are in the kennel or in the backyard. And if they're in the backyard, and even if they're in the kennel, I let them know the dogs are in the kennel because you're going to hear them barking, but I want you to know where they're at and not be afraid. Or if they're in the backyard, I want you to know so you don't try to go out there and take the trash to the trash can,
Right.
So I'm making sure everyone knows what's going on at all times.
Oh, exactly. And you have to think about, but that's our safety is such a big deal. You know what I mean?
Huge.
So I feel for her. I remember we were talking about, ladies, the house cleaner who went to the wrong house and got shot through the door. It's so dangerous out here.
And there was another situation where I think it was an HVAC, but anyone that's working on homes, an HVAC cleaner went to a home to do HVAC, and it was a vacant home. He didn't return back to the office that evening, and so his family called his office, and then his office went looking for him, and he had been murdered.
Oh my goodness. There was a similar story about a realtor who was showing a house something like that had happened to, So
that happens all too much, unfortunately.
Too much. It makes me think, what kind of safety precautions are you guys? So we know policies, but what kind of precautions are you taking? I mean, some people carry weapons, pepper spray, guns. What are you guys thinking? What do you talk to your team about as far as safety goes?
Trusting your gut, like
Mhm.
100%. Like, I don't care. I want to know about it. Announcing yourself, even if you have the keys.
Yeah.
I don't care if they
Yes.
say, "Oh, I'm home. I'm upstairs. I'm unlocking my door." Yeah,
Yes.
you're announcing yourself no matter what. But if there's anything that's off, or you have any inkling, or even if they're being weird of things, even if things aren't what they ordered, go back to the car
Yeah.
and wait. Leave your stuff
agree.
outside so that you can come and assess the situation. You just never know.
Yeah.
But I know that when we were kind of like chatting before, I would love to have, self-defense keychains, or
Yeah.
self-defense classes or something to that nature for my cleaners. And that's been a
Mhm.
want for me for too long. I actually need to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I love that because that's something that my team and I did together. We took a self-defense course together, and I also carry well, here at Michigan, gun laws and things are a lot different than the rest of the country, but for concealed carry and taking classes on how to properly use those things. I'm not against any of that, especially being solo a lot of times when we go to do
Mhm.
walkthroughs or maybe show up at the wrong property. I think
Yeah.
it really is about what you're comfortable with. Maybe you're just comfortable carrying pepper spray. That's a good defense too. But definitely at the bare minimum, having some self-defense skills and knowing how to get out of a situation is
Yeah.
I think that's a good practice to have.
For sure.
That's
Love
Absolutely.
that.
smart, you guys. Trust your
Yeah.
gut, announce yourself. That
Yes.
is an excellent one. That's a big one. I'm big on that. Every time, even though I know
Yes.
the building is vacant. Hello, hi, how you doing?
Yeah. Think it in.
Always.
Just in
Always.
case.
Then you
You
got
never
worry,
know.
right?
You never know. So yes, announce yourself. Trust your gut. Self-defense skills. Okay, Stephanie?
Yes. I definitely agree with the self-defense, right? A lot of people are hesitant about open carry, so you don't necessarily want to walk in someone's house, with the gun. And
Right.
I don't even know all the legalities behind all of that, especially as a business owner and allowing your employees to carry. But self-defense, you can protect yourself, pretty much anywhere at any time. And so I think that's a great plan.
Yeah.
I work with predominantly males. I'm the female of the group. So I think about things a little bit differently than they do. But I think that I would definitely be interested in taking a self-defense class with them as well.
Yeah. Are they a little bit more complacent with safety or
I think so. Absolutely. I think they do get more complacent with safety. And, I think that's one of the things that we discussed last time, if, there goes a period of time where nothing happens, you feel safe, you get complacent, and you forget about the basics. You forget about announcing yourself when you walk in. You forget about making sure there's no dogs in the backyard, or, you forget about, make double checking you're at the right house, the right street, to make sure that, you're showing up at the right location so nothing can go wrong.
Yeah,
Agreed. Yeah, I
exactly.
couldn't agree more.
So yeah, definitely back to the basics, and just, make sure that you're doing that stuff to protect yourself.
Right,
Don't
right,
let your
right.
guard down. I think we let our guard
Yes.
down. Even in when we go and we're like doing something as simple as shopping or picking up supplies, sometimes we're not always noticing what's around us, like the other vehicles, the other people, or on our phone. We leave the door open for a minute, whatever it may be, just being aware of your surroundings and
Yeah.
following that intuition. If you have a bad feeling, it's there for a reason, right?
So, what are like immediate red flags when you guys walk into a home, if you notice any? I know for me, I don't loose dogs is
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I try
Yeah,
to
loose
inform everybody
animals.
ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if there's loose dogs, then they ignored my request.
Like, really the vibes. Like, if the customer
Yeah.
is very short, disgruntled,
Yes.
kind of feels like they're having a bad day, I'm immediately heightened. Then I tell the girls, the same thing, just to be
Right.
like, and I have we don't clean for people we don't like.
Yeah.
Not happy to see
There you
us. You mean you're any of the things? I can name a laundry list of things that can go wrong if they are not even in
Yeah.
right headspace for us to be there.
Absolutely.
go.
That'll get you gone.
Right.
Good
My
customer
husband,
relations.
yes, customer relationships are so important, and it's mutually, right?
Mhm.
Not just one-sided. My husband showed up at a job one time and tried to shake this gentleman's hand, and he just looked at him and didn't shake his hand.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, it was a racist situation, and my husband was left and called me in tears because of the fact that it happened. But the positive note of that is he recognized it up front. He recognized the red flags. He walked away from it because it was just going to get worse from there. So definitely noticing those red flags up front. Disrespect is not tolerated.
At all. We are in service. We are not servants.
Right.
Please do not get it twisted.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And then those type of clients will never have any concerns or for your safety. You know what I mean? Or well-being.
None.
Right.
And they can be, I've had an intuition where I went and I've signed up for, met the person, everything seemed good, but then it was still just a feeling. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just being paranoid about this. And then a week or so later, there's not good communication. It was like something I just knew. And so I took a very big client on, a big commercial client on with that same feeling. And I just knew there was one problem client out of all of them. And it did not matter how much I communicated with them. So I was like, listen to yourself and know the signs that say this is possibly not going to be a good fit. It's okay to say no.
Yes.
Understand that it's okay to fire your clients, per se.
Oh, yeah.
And better fit clients definitely come along, so it's just that good relationships are the foundation, right? It's why we serve. It's why we do what we do. So
yeah,
it's just really important to know that just if you have to let a client go, that it's okay, that a better one's going to come along. They're going to be a good fit, and you're just going to feel good about being able to serve them.
Have any of you ever actually fired a client over safety concerns?
So I have a contract, and I'm not going to say who it's with because they're like national, but yeah, we have clients that I don't necessarily have control over that comes on the books.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, I've
yeah.
had people, follow behind people, being weird or even being super tedious. Or I had an instance where a cleaner said that someone was like filming her or taking pictures or something like that. That was in Frisco. But yeah, the downside of having a largely like syndicated contract and they bring on the clients is that I don't have as much control in the area. So I'm very, very strict
Or the
on
opportunity
that.
to vet them.
Yeah. Fire them. And then, some on the private side, I'm just kind of like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this. And, I don't owe you an explanation. And I actually love to do it because that just is a testament of how hard we've worked for the past almost 8 years for us to pick and choose. Because I remember a day where it didn't matter how it went with the customer or what the state of the home was. We would do it because we didn't want the bad press. But that is not what's happening anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
I agree.
A client wanted us to use a scissor lift. When you use a scissor lift, it has to be on a flat surface. And so we attempted to get the scissor lift up. It was for gutter cleaning. We attempted to get the scissor lift, all the way up, and it wouldn't go up. And we couldn't figure out why. Well, the ground was unleveled. And so we went to go talk with the maintenance man about it. And he said, well, the last company put some wood down and then drove the scissor lift over the wood. And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm sorry that we're not going to do that. And why didn't you tell us this up front? Because I would
yeah, we would have came.
I hate when they omit information.
Yes. And so, situations like that where they're not concerned about your safety at all. They're just concerned about getting the job done. As much as we would like to get the job done for you, our safety comes first.
We have to stand together as companies, and just like when and mentor people more or have more open dialogue. Like Nicki, you have your cleaning group, and it's more important because just like people can come into our sector and drive down stuff with the low prices, people can come and have no regard for safety and make it very hard for us who have policies and different stuff in place.
Absolutely.
Like, you really can't do that because customers will start to expect certain things, and just like the people with the plywood, like we're not doing that, and they look at you crazy, and may even have the audacity to write you a bad review on Google just because they didn't get their way. And I'm always ready and trained to respond to those type of things.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
You're not letting it slide.
Okay.
But I love
yes,
that we're having this discussion and everybody's okay with now, because I think we've all learned the hard way, right? That it's okay to stand your ground and to have your own rules in place, and I love that everybody's in agreement over that and sharing that. Yes, we've all had experiences. Yes, we've all had to fire clients and had to just put our, make sure that our safety is top priority. And I love that. These are good companies because so many companies don't do that or
And I think in the beginning, it's, you think you have to take on everything and do everything and you're scared to say no, right? We've all learned this. We've all learned this from experience, from making those mistakes and doing the wrong thing and saying yes when we should have said no. So, it might not seem like it right now, like it's a good idea, but in the end, it's better for you to say no now.
Right. And I think that's a good point Autumn made too, is we know what we know now, but the cleaning community as a whole, I think, yeah, if we need to start having these discussions and bringing awareness to safety, because like we're just saying, cleaners in the early phase, they might not even realize that safety is a thing and important and something that they need to implement and have a plan for like immediately, So yes, so this is a good conversation then, you guys, us having it right now. If someone is watching this, ladies, a brand new cleaner, what's one piece of advice you'd want them to remember every time they walk into a client's home? So
I would say number one, that's my strong one, is trust your gut and just keep your head on a swivel. Always just look around. Don't be like on your phone and like, okay, whatever, talk, be self-aware. Be aware of your surroundings and just be heightened all the time. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
I agree with you on that. I've walked into a commercial account before where the lights were, 10, 11 o'clock at night and the lights were completely off and not known that somebody was in the office and then they came around the corner. So, and that was all because I let my guard down and just thinking the lights are off, nobody's here, So yeah, just always be aware because for a while there, it was just me and I would go in and get my stuff ready. And if the lights are off and I use my key, I was like, oh, nobody's here. So I wasn't aware because I was doing other things. So once that happened, then I was like, okay, you need to, make sure that nobody else is in the building. It was one of those things. Intuition didn't tell me anybody was there that time. I just happened to walk in. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Like when you go into, you could have been in a building or a home 100 times, but always be aware and know the risks that could be around you.
Right. Say these are especially important when you're cleaning alone and cleaning after dark, like I do a lot. So yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and also cleaning with headphones on, you guys, because you're so not aware of what's going on around you. And so many times I've seen, even my own employees all like, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
But I would say as far as a new cleaning person, set expectations up front with the customer, for yourself. If you need to know if they have dogs, ask them to put them up, set those expectations up front. If you're using equipment, let them know that you need certain stuff out of the way. And, just you need the lights on, ask them to leave the lights on. If you're just setting those expectations so they know what to expect and you know what to expect, then that kind of alleviates the room for error.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that mention about the headphones thing. I hate it. Because you always need to be able to see and hear.
Yes.
And so I just ask people or remind them maybe just wear one. One ear open. My husband wears them and like with the vacuum, I'll be like, hi. And it's so annoying. Like, are you not concerned about your safety? You know what I'm saying? Or anything right now?
It's gonna take him getting scared one good time. Yeah. Somebody popping up on them.
Right.
Because it's already creepy enough cleaning at night, y'all.
Yeah,
right. My buildings, I be like this.
That's how I am. I'm very jumpy, and I watch a lot of horror and true crime. Yeah. So it's it magnifies it. So I'm in the office. You don't want to see me in the office building. But yeah, so you guys, so be aware. Make sure all your senses are good and available. I think we all can agree in this Chris Brown case, there was definitely some negligence. And I'm glad we were able to discuss some things that cleaners can do to protect themselves and, prioritize their safety themselves. So, you guys, we got some great stuff here. One thing is clear. Working in someone's home comes with a unique set of challenges. And conversations like this remind us why professionalism, safety, and clear expectations matter for everybody involved, everyone. So thank you guys. And if you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the Only Maids podcast for more conversations. This is just our first one, y'all. We're just getting started. So thank you, ladies. We'll see you next time.
Bye.